Welcome to the 19th Annual Above and Beyond Pro Bono Achievement Awards and Benefit. Each fall, we come together to celebrate our extraordinary honorees and the incredible gift of pro bono legal counsel that so many of you give to our clients. As this is National Pro Bono Week, I can't think of a more appropriate time to thank you all for your support. The last year and a half has been extremely challenging for survivors of gender violence. Not only did many have to quarantine with their abusers, but they also faced challenges such as immigration, poverty, trauma, racism, and the lack of affordable housing. While the COVID-19 pandemic may be fading, the pandemic of domestic violence is still very much a part of our clients' lives. Survivors of gender-based violence still desperately need legal representation to navigate orders of protection, divorces, custody, family, and immigration matters. And that's where pro bono attorneys like you have stepped up without hesitation. I'd like to congratulate the 50 individuals and 8 law firms who have gone above and beyond, and to thank the entire pro bono legal community for their work on behalf of Sanctuary's clients during this time of crisis. Before we begin the program, I also want to thank this evening's underwriting sponsors, Skadden and Wilmer Hale. I also want to thank our host tonight, Sanctuary's Pro Bono Counsel, who have done such a phenomenal job planning tonight's event, working hand in hand with Sanctuary's Director of Pro Bono, Nicole Fidler. I hope you enjoy the presentation, and please visit our website for more details about our honorees' hard work and advocacy. And please cheer on tonight's honorees in the chat box when you see their photos and firms. And now I'd like to introduce the first video featuring honorees and their cases from our Incarcerated Gender Violence Survivors Initiative. Thank you.
We work with gender violence survivors who are caught up in the criminal justice system. This is such important work because so many survivors don't have trauma-informed advocates who can fight for their rights in criminal cases, and really in many cases to fight for their liberty. Over the past year, we've had tremendous success in securing high-quality legal representation for incarcerated survivors and survivors who are facing the possibility of incarceration. This has included cases under New York's groundbreaking Domestic Violence Survivors Justice Act, or DVSJA, as well as work assisting survivors in preparing for parole hearings and representing survivors who've been charged with a variety of criminal offenses and are facing trial or sentencing. Our pro bono partners are really the engine making all of our work possible, and I can't thank them enough for the difference they've made in the lives of our clients.
The dedicated Simpson-Thatcher pro bono team, led by Mark Stein of Counsel Sarah Ricciardi, Counsel Ellen Fry, who mid-proceeding became a partner at FenCap Law, and Associates Jerry Fang, Rachel Fleeter, Ariel Hertzberg, Shanice Hinkson, and Sarah Luz Estrella brought tremendous professionalism and dedication to Mary's DVSJA application in the Nassau County Court. The district attorney had regarded Mary's history of domestic violence with skepticism and disregarded her outstanding prison record. Ignoring the purpose of the DVSJA, the district attorney's office insisted on retrying the murder case, severely re-traumatizing Mary. The Simpson team did everything it could to advocate for Mary in court and support her emotionally throughout the ordeal. When the court denied her DVSJA application, the team worked tirelessly to build the strongest parole packet possible and skillfully prepped Mary for the parole board's interrogation. Her first time before the panel, Mary and her team prevailed. The great work of Mark, Ellen, Jerry, and the entire team gave Mary back her life and brought back to her family their cherished wife, mother, and grandmother.
In terms of the impact that this case had on me personally, our client was portrayed in the media as a monster who manipulated others to kill her live-in boyfriend and abuser. Upon meeting our client, hearing her story, and learning about her impact on others through letters that other individuals wrote for her, as well as her personal statement, I saw a completely different person. She's someone with a quiet strength and resilience who endured and overcame unspeakable horrors at the hands of her abuser. And this case was just a powerful reminder that there is so much more to our clients than a conviction or how they are portrayed in the media, especially for incarcerated women who are survivors of gender-based violence.
Congratulations to the entire Simpson-Thatcher team.
I am very happy to present an Above and Beyond award to an amazing team of pro bono attorneys from Davis Polk. The Davis Polk team, through their world-class lawyering and also their compassion, patience, and perseverance, really went above and beyond for one of our clients, a young survivor named Carrie. The Davis Polk team jumped into the case immediately and worked with Carrie to draft a petition for her resentencing, supported by a recognized expert in the field of trauma bonding. Perhaps most remarkably, the team was so successful in crafting compelling arguments that they convinced the assistant district attorney on the case to actually support our petition for Carrie's release and to become another advocate for Carrie before the judge. In the end, the Davis Polk team was able to secure Carrie's release, which allowed her to be reunited with her family, including her young child, and to start to rebuild her life.
The best part of this experience, and perhaps my favorite experience working on a pro bono case to date, was the day our case team traveled up to Bedford Hills to pick our client up from prison. We had begun working with her early in April of 2020, so very early in the pandemic, and accepting a 5-minute court appearance for her resentencing shortly before her release. None of us had ever had the ability to visit or speak with her face to face. So fast forward to August, where we had the privilege of seeing the excitement in our client's eyes, her effervescent body language as she high-fived the corrections officer who had processed her on her first day. It's a snapshot I expect to hold in my mind and strive to emulate throughout my career.
Congratulations to Timothy, Dov, Stephanie, Dennis, Patrick, and Dara from the Davis Polk team.
The collective hearts of New York State's domestic violence advocacy community were broken when Nicole Armando was convicted of murder and sentenced to 19 years to life in prison. Most outrageous was the trial court's rejection of her application to be sentenced under the new Domestic Violence Survivors Justice Act. If Nicole Armando, whose abuse was severe and well documented, was not protected by this new law, would any survivor ever be? Sullivan and Cromwell partner and Sanctuary Board member Garrett Beeney agreed to take on the challenging assignment of representing Nicole on appeal pro bono, and bravely and brilliantly litigated her case with an extraordinary team that included partners Amanda Flug and Camille Shields, and associates Samantha Briggs, James Brown, Alexander Self, and Timothy Weinstein. Through their strategic, inspired, survivor-centered advocacy, Garrett and his team persuaded the appellate court to apply the DVSJA, reducing Nicole's sentence to a fraction of its length. In so doing, this extraordinary pro bono team gave Nicole Armando a future, gave her children back their loving mother, and gave criminalized survivors and their advocates throughout New York State valuable legal precedent and new hope.
The best part of the experience for me was getting to meet our client after the appellate decision came down, and just the relief that she expressed, not only because she would be going home a lot earlier, but because she had been believed and really felt validated by the decision. And that it would help a lot of other people in her position moving forward.
Congratulations to the entire Sullivan and Cromwell team.
The Immigration Intervention Project, or IIP as we call ourselves, is the largest nonprofit immigration legal program for abuse victims in the United States. We provide free representation, advocacy, and information to thousands of foreign-born victims of domestic violence, human trafficking, and other forms of gender-based violence. We help our clients secure immigration status and protect them from detention and deportation, as well as reuniting them with their children abroad.
I had the pleasure of working with our Kasowitz team on a case for 3 siblings, aged 21, 14, and 10. The 3 children were eligible for Special Immigrant Juvenile Status, or SIJ, and their green cards, which involves representation in both family court and before U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Due to the incredible work by the Kasowitz team, the eldest daughter has received her green card, and the 2 younger children have SIJ status and their green cards are pending. Rachel represented the children in Queens Family Court and mainly worked on this case during the pandemic. In addition to Rachel's kindness, warmth, and dedication to the family, her lawyering skills are what really stood out to me. In my years of doing SIJ, I have never had service waived in Queens. But here, Rachel was so prepared and knew the facts of the family's case so well that she was able to successfully argue waiver of service. It was such an accomplishment and relief for the family. Binta was then able to file the SIJ and green card applications for the children. It is a number of forms to complete, and Binta worked closely with the family to complete all these applications within days so we could quickly file. And this case really highlights Teresa's dedication to their pro bono work, and I'm so happy for the success of this case and our continued work together.
A memorable moment for the team was when one of our clients received her permanent resident card. It all happened relatively quickly. One day we received the notice in the mail, and then a few days later the actual card arrived. And the entire thing was just very exciting. It was exciting just to see the card, and it was exciting to know that our client was one step further to fulfilling her dreams.
Thank you, Rachel, Binta, and Teresa.
For survivors of gender violence, their safety and the safety of their children are paramount. Unfortunately, abusive partners often use the system against survivors, filing retaliatory cases for orders of protection, and engaging in custody, visitation, and child support battles to retain control over their former partners. Sanctuary's family law attorneys represent survivors in the full range of these cases, ensuring that our clients have the support they need to litigate these critical but challenging cases. Our partnership with pro bono attorneys plays a central role in helping many of our clients face complex family court cases in their efforts to protect themselves and their children and regain control over their lives. We are so grateful for the commitment and dedication of our honorees tonight.
I was extraordinarily lucky to work with the Alston and Bird team on a difficult custody and order of protection case in Queens Family Court. Alston represented a survivor of domestic violence and mother of a young daughter in the most litigious case I've seen in my career thus far. Against all odds, the incredible Alston team negotiated a favorable outcome for the client, resulting in joint custody with designated spheres of influence for the survivor. The Alston team spent hours drafting oppositions and motions and preparing for trial by collecting and organizing documents, drafting direct examinations, and researching and calling countless witnesses to ensure the client was fully prepared for an extremely difficult trial. Further, the Alston team held their ground against very difficult opposing counsel and successfully negotiated a stipulation that served the client and prevented a possible terrible outcome.
This case gave our team an incredible opportunity to experience what was really a true life cycle of a case. There were so many at-bats in court that many of us would not necessarily experience this early on in our careers. We filed countless motions, we hired an expert, we conducted numerous court hearings, and we also engaged in months and months of settlement negotiations. Overall, it really gave the team a lot of valuable substantive experience that we can apply in our careers.
Thank you so much to Kristen Kwan, Elizabeth Buckle, Jenna Jones, and Robbie Shaw for your amazing work.
I had the pleasure of working with the Weil Gotshal team on a case where our client, Ms. B, fled Morocco with her young daughter to escape her husband's violence. But once she was safely in New York, she was faced with a federal litigation under the Hague Convention on International Child Abduction, in which her abusive partner was trying to force the return of her daughter to Morocco. The Weil team successfully defended Ms. B in the federal litigation, which resulted in mother and daughter being able to stay together safely in New York. These are really difficult cases to win. The Weil team was a powerhouse. They worked countless hours strategizing, prepping for a 12-day federal trial, and coordinating efforts across borders, all during a global pandemic and lockdown. They not only won the case for Ms. B, but they set excellent precedent for future domestic violence survivors in New York. And their compassion and dedication to their client was always at the forefront of their representation.
I'm very lucky to be represented by an army of lawyers from Weil Gotshal in federal case and internationally. Word will be never enough to describe my experience with this amazing team of lawyers. They are not only extraordinary lawyers, but they lift me up, and they are very sensitive human beings who have fought and who continue to fight to protect my child and myself. They are the dream team. You saved us. Thank you, thank you, thank you 1,000 times. You are, for AG and me, our superheroes.
The best part of working on this case for me was our amazing team. It began with Sanctuary. When Nicole Fiddler called and asked if we would take on this case about a month before trial, we knew nothing about the Hague Convention provisions concerning abduction of children. Sanctuary partnered with us from that day forward. Our Weil team was simply terrific. Susan Shin jumped in very shortly before the trial and agreed to take the first chair. Our associates conducted some of the most important directed cross-examinations and led the way throughout the case. We had fantastic experts, and we had a simply wonderful client.
Luna, Susan, Rich, Arissa, Scott, Marie, AJ, Maggie, Jack, Aaron, Rob, Rachel, my deepest gratitude for your work, truly, and congratulations.
My name is Justin Cohen, and I'm a proud member of Sanctuary's Pro Bono Council. I want to congratulate all of the honorees this evening and offer a very special thank you to everyone who has joined us here to celebrate this important work. Tonight, I urge you to support the movement to end gender violence by making a financial contribution to Sanctuary's mission. Every single dollar you donate tonight will help provide legal services for survivors of gender violence. Whether you donate $127 to pay for a monthly MetroCard for a client in need, ensuring they can get to and from Sanctuary and/or to court, or $10,000 to support Sanctuary's anti-trafficking initiative, we appreciate it all and are so very grateful. There are 3 easy ways to make a donation tonight. First, if you are watching us from the GiveSmart platform, you can donate on this very same webpage on the left side panel. Just click on the tab that says Donate. Number 2, text the keyword Sanctuary to 76278 and follow the directions you receive via text message for next steps to make a donation. Number 3, visit sanctuary.givesmart.com. You can also support Sanctuary by participating in our online auction. You have a chance to win fitness classes, luxury beauty products, sporting tickets, and much more. Visit sanctuary.givesmart.com to begin bidding. Thank you so much for all of your support and for partnering with Sanctuary for Families. Enjoy the rest of the program.
The Matrimonial and Economic Justice Project represents clients in matrimonial, post-judgment enforcement and modification, support, housing, and public benefits cases. We seek to partner with pro bono attorneys to better serve clients in our most complex matters, which can often involve extensive financial discovery and motion practice. We truly value having legal teams to support our clients and ultimately obtain a good result. I had the immense pleasure to work with retired Justice Rosalind Richter of Arnold and Porter on a case where a client had been in protracted litigation with the father of her daughter for many years. The father of this client's child feigned poverty and refused to pay his daughter's school tuition and health insurance premiums as required by the court order of support. During the time this issue arose, the family court was not calendaring support petitions at all due to COVID-19. So Judge Richter truly went above and beyond by finding a way to file this enforcement application before the Supreme Court.
Sanctuary's work is particularly important now because COVID has created financial and personal stress for so many. Being involved as a pro bono attorney in this case is meaningful to me because I could see what a difference it made to my client to have a legal team helping her collect her unpaid child support and the tuition arrears for her daughter. She simply did not have the skills necessary to bring the enforcement proceeding to the court and to navigate the complex intersection between Supreme Court and family court. The highlight of this case was when I heard that the child's father had actually paid the tuition arrears after being held in contempt by the court. We all know what a difficult year it has been for kids, and I'm so pleased that my client's daughter did not have to go through any further disruption by having to leave the school she loved so much.
Thank you, Judge Richter, for going above and beyond for this client.
Congratulations, the Kasowitz-Benson-Torres team, for going above and beyond. They went above and beyond for our client in a divorce action that lasted 2 years worth of litigation. The final divorce judgment included our client retaining custody of her 2 young daughters, ensuring their visits with their father were safe, and continuing a final order of protection. The team went above and beyond throughout all of the litigation, especially in consideration of an oftentimes aggressive and adversarial opposing counsel. Opposing counsel would bring up new topics and new arguments before the judge, even before discussing them in negotiations. The Kasowitz team would pivot seamlessly and zealously advocate for our client's perspective, even when they had not heard these topics before. They would often spend hours with our client, who was not an English speaker, ensuring that she understood the opposing counsel's new and oftentimes egregious arguments against her, so that she could make the most informed decision about her case and truly understood what was going on.
It was very rewarding to not only resolve the case successfully, of course, but also to see our client's personal growth. We watched her become stronger and more self-confident throughout the process, and that has been very special to us.
Congratulations for going above and beyond, Sarah Levick, Cindy Kelly, Marceline Hearn, Leah Errol, and Jillian Roffer.
Many of Sanctuary's pro bono attorneys, including myself, are also members of Pro Bono Council, or PBC. PBC is a group of lawyers and non-lawyers who get together to support Sanctuary's work, advocate for Sanctuary's mission, and do pro bono representation. We meet every other month, and we really look forward to meeting in person. And when we meet, we talk about Sanctuary's work, brainstorm special projects, and plan events, including an event like this. Everyone is welcome. If you liked what you heard tonight and would like to get more involved with Sanctuary, we hope you consider joining PBC. Contact information is on the screen. Please get in touch, and we hope to see you soon.
The Anti-Trafficking Initiative is a project within Sanctuary's Legal Center
We are a team of attorneys, social workers, and case managers. Together we work with and represent approximately 400 domestic and foreign-born survivors of human trafficking annually in and around the 5 boroughs of New York City. We provide immigration, victim witness and vacatur representation, family reunification, and criminal justice advocacy. ATI case managers assist clients in navigating public benefits, grants, and other funding streams in order to meet basic necessities: shelter, medical care, and food.
I had the pleasure of working with Kathy Ju and George Zhang from Millbank on this case. COVID-19 has been really hard for all of us, but it threw up obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome for this particular family. The mother, who was a survivor of trafficking, had been waiting patiently for consular processing to conclude for her teenage daughter, who was in China, so they could finally be reunited in America. But in spring 2021, the client called us and told us the matter had become even more urgent because the child's father in China had been arrested, and so now no one was able to care for the teenager. But we were between a rock and a hard place because consulates and embassies across the world had virtually stopped all visa issuances during the pandemic, and our other consular processing cases were also getting nowhere. But Kathy and George devoted countless hours to brainstorming with the client and creatively strategizing new ways of persuading the consulate to make an exception for this very urgent case. The type of advocacy that they did, although they didn't use form or emotion or a brief, is an extremely important form of lawyering, especially during times that are unprecedented. Due to their persistence, the client successfully reunited with her daughter and brought her to safety in the US in May.
Sanctuary and Millbank have been working with my client for nearly a decade, and the outcomes we've been able to obtain for her are life-changing for her and for her family. And being involved in such a small portion of it has highlighted how deep the impact is on an individual level. The most memorable moment in this case for me was waiting in the arrivals lobby at JFK Airport and seeing my client come out with her young daughter, who she hadn't seen in many years. After everything my client had gone through and the stress of navigating not only the immigration system, but also a dangerous situation for her daughter in China while she was in the US, it was a huge relief to see them reunited in person.
Thank you so much, Kathy and George, for going above and beyond.
Simpson Thatcher first engaged with Marisol and her husband Samuel in 2015. Over the years, the firm helped the couple to obtain T and T derivative status respectively, and then to file applications to adjust status to lawful permanent residency. Around May 2021, the team confronted a challenging and urgent issue. In a moment of sheer desperation, Samuel returned to Mexico days before the team planned to file his adjustment application. Without a current passport and with COVID-related embassy shutdowns, Samuel faced the possibility of not being able to return to the US before his T expired. With Samuel's severe and potentially grave medical condition, his wife and young children prayed for a reunification. In only a few weeks' time, the team worked intensively with the whole family. Navigating legal challenges and COVID-related delays, the team was able to assist Samuel to obtain a renewed passport, file all consular documents, including multiple supporting letters from his doctors and his daughter's psychologist, secure an emergency interview, prepare the client for this interview, and assist in finalizing his travel. The family was overjoyed when he arrived back in the United States and was able to reunify with his wife and children. Just days after, the team then submitted Samuel's application for lawful permanent residency. Thank you for going above and beyond, Harleen and Melissa.
The stories you've heard tonight highlight only a few examples of the lasting impact achieved through Sanctuary's legal efforts this year, made possible with the support of our dedicated network of volunteers and attorneys. Thank you to the nearly 1,000 pro bono attorneys who collectively donated more than 64,000 hours of time to Sanctuary's clients last year. And during this time of uncertainty, your dedication serves as recognition that our mission of providing comprehensive services to survivors of gender violence is valued by the New York City community. I also had the pleasure of being on the Pro Bono Council for many years before becoming a board member. And I know firsthand the hard work it takes to plan tonight's event. I want to take a moment to thank this evening's hosts, Sanctuaries PBC, chaired by Sharon Barber and Victoria Abraham. Thanks also to our event co-chairs, Justin Cohen, Jen Garrett, and Irina Sivachenko. I also want to thank the staff of Sanctuaries Legal Center. Each of you go above and beyond every day to meet the needs of our clients and mentor the pro bono attorneys who take on this incredibly challenging work. And finally, congratulations to the phenomenal teams at Alston and Bird, Arnold and Porter, Davis Polk, Kasowitz, Milbank, Simpson Thatcher, Sullivan and Cromwell, and Weil Gottschall. Thank you all for joining us. You are critical to our ability to create a better world for New York's most vulnerable families. Have a great evening.